Some people walk into your life with a smile on their face and a knife behind their back. My stepmother was one of them. And for years, I convinced myself I was imagining it. That I was too sensitive, too dramatic, too unstable. That word, that horrible, calculated word she planted like a seed in everyone's mind. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Claire. I was 9 years old when my father remarried. My mother had passed away 2 years before. A car accident on a Tuesday morning in November. The kind of ordinary day that turns into the worst day of your life. I remember thinking the world should have stopped. That it should have rained for a week. But the sun came out the next morning like nothing had happened. My dad was broken after losing her. We both were. And I understood. I really did. When he started going on dinners again. When he started smiling at someone new. I understood because I loved him. And I wanted him to be okay. What I didn't understand was her. Sandra came into our home like a renovation project. New curtains. New furniture. New rules. My mother's photographs disappeared one by one. First from the living room. Then from the hallway. Then from everywhere except my bedroom, where Sandra wasn't allowed to touch. At first, I thought she just had different taste. Then I started noticing the way she spoke about me to my father. She's so moody lately, David. Have you noticed? The school counselor thinks she might have some unresolved issues. I'm worried about her. I really am. She just seems unstable. That word. I was 11 the first time I heard her use it. Sitting at the top of the stairs in the dark, listening to her voice carry through the living room like smoke. I didn't even know what it meant then. But the way my father went quiet after she said it, that silence told me everything.
Everything changed the summer I turned 18. My grandfather, Nana Ruth's husband, the man who used to call me his little firecracker, passed away. And in his will, he left me a trust fund. Not enormous, but significant. Money my mother's side of the family had set aside for me before I was even born. Money that had my name on it since I was a baby. I didn't know about it. Nobody had told me. But Sandra found out. And that's when the quiet campaign she'd been running for 9 years shifted into something uglier. Within 2 weeks of the will being read, Sandra sat my father down and told him she was genuinely concerned that I wasn't mentally stable enough to manage finances, that she'd been watching me for years, and she felt it was her duty as my stepmother to say something. She suggested that someone else should manage the trust, someone responsible, someone close to the family. Her. I found out because my father, bless him, he still had some spine left, told me what she said. He looked uncomfortable telling me, like he wasn't sure who to believe. And that look on his face, that uncertainty in his eyes, after 9 years of being my father, of knowing me, that was the moment something inside me hardened into steel. Dad, I said, very quietly. How long has she been saying things like this about me? He didn't answer right away, and the pause was answer enough. I went to Nana Ruth that same night. I brought my journal, 7 years of documented incidents, dates, quotes, patterns. Nana Ruth sat at her kitchen table and read every single page. When she looked up, her eyes were red. "Baby," she said softly. "We have to call a lawyer." Now here's where I want you to understand something. I didn't want to destroy my family. I want you to know that. I didn't want my father to suffer. I loved him. I just needed the truth to come out. Because truth, when it's buried long enough, starts to poison everything around it. The lawyer Nana Ruth hired.
The courtroom was smaller than I expected. I don't know what I imagined. Something dramatic, maybe. High ceilings and echoing footsteps. But it was just a quiet room with fluorescent lights and wooden benches, and a judge who looked like he had seen everything. Sandra walked in dressed like she was attending a PTA fundraiser. Soft blouse, neat hair, that careful expression of practiced concern already arranged on her face. I watched her and felt nothing but calm. Gwendolyn presented our case methodically, without theatrics. The journal, the documented incidents, the unauthorized contact with the trust administrator, the recorded phone call with Nana Ruth. 9 years of quiet, deliberate manipulation laid out in order, item by item, like pieces of a puzzle no one had been allowed to see assembled until now. Sandra's lawyer tried to reframe everything, said I had a history of emotional instability. There was that word again, said in that room with those fluorescent lights. That I had always been a troubled child, that Sandra had only ever tried to help me. But then Gwendolyn did something brilliant. She asked the court to hear from 3 people who had known me since childhood. My 4th grade teacher, my high school track coach, and my mother's oldest friend, a woman named Diane, who had watched me grow up and never stopped. One by one, they spoke about the Claire they knew. Steady, determined, honest. The kind of girl who showed up, who worked hard, who, even after losing her mother at 7 years old, never stopped trying to build something good from the rubble. And then Gwendolyn played the recording. Sandra's voice filled the courtroom. Soft, sweet, deliberate. Telling Nana Ruth that grief had clouded her judgment, that I was manipulative, that the family needed to take things out of my hands. The judge listened without expression. When the recording ended, the room was very quiet. The judge looked at Sandra for a long moment. Then he spoke. He said he had presided over a great many cases involving family disputes and contested finances. He said that in his experience, the people who most loudly declared someone else unstable were often the ones most desperate to be believed. He said that 9 years of documentation,